just get on into it. It's time once again for SGI I started to say StayPositive.News, but this is one street over. But this is StayPositive.News Day. So we just got to get right to it. Rachel Allison is in the house, and let's see, this is the second Wednesday, right?
Second Wednesday.
I have all these, we have all these reoccurring guests, and I love it because it kind of gets you used to saying, okay, we're going to hear from the mayor. Now, we did not hear from Dr. Danny Weeks yesterday because we're not in school yet, and we've got the Thresherman show coming up, and I just really wanted to give some time to the Thresherman show, which we did yesterday. That's next weekend. Please don't forget that. That is a historic event here in this area, and it is just the coolest thing ever. So we took that time. Dr. Danny Weeks will be back on in August when we're back at school, and we're also going to be featuring once a month. We're going to have on the first Tuesday, we're going to visit with two principals across the district. We're going to hit elementary. We're going to hit them all. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to kind of, double down on our schools and things when we get back to school. We got a few more weeks yet. But StayPositive.News, their slot is the second Wednesday. And I just love it because it's an opportunity. I think more and more people are starting to see there's an alternative out there to, getting up in the morning and watching the news that just kind of brings you down. And I mean, we need to stay informed, of course, but you can only take so much of that.
Yeah.
You need to have that positive stuff.
Absolutely.
And so anyway, good morning.
Good morning.
You look lovely this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I rolled out at 6. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on summer break. I'm just going to kind of, get here today. But you look like you're ready for your day.
Yes, I've got lots to do today, and I wanted to start out strong here. I'm so happy to be back here again, and happy that you're back again.
Yes, see, that's right. I wasn't with you last time because I just had my knee replaced.
That's right.
So my right one, and I'm 1 month out as of Monday, and doing fabulous. I'm way ahead of the game, and awesome. I mean, just doing great. I'm ready for it to feel normal though, because I'm very impatient. And I'm getting ready to go on my mission trip to Mexico. I'm leaving a week. Let's see, a week from Saturday. I'll be going to Mexico. I've been doing this. This will probably be my 12th time in. I've been going for about 9 years now. But when I was working at church, sometimes I'd go twice a year. And so I've had just the great privilege of going down there and it's just family to me down in Mexico, in El Rosario and Ensenada. I've just got people down there I'm so close to.
Yeah.
And so I just can't. When we were setting up my knee replacement, it had to work for, number one, we had to get it done while we were out of school because I could not do that in the middle of school. I didn't want to be out of school. And then I had to work around Mexico. So we got it done, but I'm getting the left one done when I get back from Mexico right before school starts.
Wow. So I just got back from Nicaragua on a mission trip.
Oh my gosh. What did y'all do down there? Who did you go with? Tell me all about it.
I went with Get Strong Ministries.
Nice.
It's a very unique organization, but they use CrossFit as a way to disciple to people in a little town called Ocotal, Nicaragua. It's 5 hours from the capital.
That is cool. It
was a really, really neat trip. But yeah, I just got back from that last Wednesday, so I love that you're about to go on a mission trip too.
I love it. And you mean, so you guys just got back from Nicaragua. That is really cool. Yeah. How long were you there?
A week.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was a really great experience. I've done some other mission trips in my life, but this was the first one I've done since becoming a mother.
Yeah.
So that's
a lot.
That added a new layer of just like worry and, I don't want to go last minute, but I'm so glad that I went. They lost my luggage. That was like the horror story of the first couple of days. But once we got past that, I got my luggage finally. All was well.
That's something, knock on wood, it's never happened to me that I've lost my luggage. I had one of my kids was coming back. They did a mission trip. I think it was Caleb, one of my twins, was doing a mission trip in Honduras. And on his way back, the luggage got lost. And we got to the airport to get him. He's like, I got nothing. It's just me. And so we picked him up. And it was about a week later, they came and delivered it to the house because they're like, we found it, and so, I mean, and it was recovered. I've got a friend right now that's son and new daughter-in-law are I think they're back now. They were on their honeymoon in Italy. And some kind of flight got canceled whenever they were heading into, they were in New York, and then they were flying out of New York to wherever their next stop was. And so it was so funny because the flight got canceled. And in the shifting of getting new flights, they lost their luggage. And so they went on their honeymoon without anything.
That's so tough.
So yeah, it was a
always
mess.
pack extra clothes,
Yes.
anything
In your carry-on.
necessities in your carry-on bag. Thankfully,
Yes.
I had done that, so I was able to survive those first couple days.
That's wild. That is wild.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. But welcome back.
Thank
I'm
you.
curious about how you do. So, just like we go in and put eyeglasses and things like that on people. So you guys just go in and work out with them and just love on them and help them, help get their body fit for, because when we're fit, we're more productive for what Jesus wants.
Exactly.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah. So the whole ministry is based on 1 Timothy 4:8, which basically talks about, using like exercising is good, but using your body for God is better. And so, they have a gym there. Our purpose of this specific trip was to run a competition out of the gym. It was a 2-day wide competition. And we brought in athletes from all over Central America and got to, meet them through CrossFit, but then like love on them and tell them what we do, with the ultimate goal of then starting Bible studies in some of their gyms all across Central America.
Right.
So it was really fun. I love working out. I love CrossFit, although I don't do CrossFit daily now. It was just a really, really unique trip. When you go on your mission trip, what do you guys do?
We do clinics where we go in and we put eyeglasses on folks, and we do a triage to do blood pressures and sugar tests, things like that, just to kind of see if somebody's got some kind of an outlying health issue that's going to be a problem. And so we do those things. And so that just kind of what happened. We had this orphanage in Ensenada called the City of Children.
I've been there.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about. And when that started, 50 plus years ago, they said that we need to try to help these families be able to keep their kids, because a lot of kids that were coming into the City of Children were just basically, dropped off by their kiddos because or dropped off by their parents because they couldn't take care of them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that the kids were absolutely, orphaned. They just could not afford to care for them.
Right.
And so what would happen is they would, say, hey, can you help me with my kids? And so the people who ran the orphanage, the gentleman, and I can't think of his name, I wish I could, but he was like, what if we change these communities from the inside out? And so they started planting churches down the Baja Peninsula. And there's 20 plus churches, I'm going to say like 24 or so, that are down the Baja Peninsula. And truly from the inside out, you are changing these communities by giving them a place to come together and seek help. If something happens and you're sick and you can go, you can't access maybe the health care you need. Maybe you've got a child that's born, has got terrible eyesight, and you need some help. You can go to the churches in these little communities. What can you do to help me? Just like we'll go into a Rosario, and we have so many glasses down there, but inevitably we won't be able to fit somebody.
Yeah.
So our preacher down there, he can take them to Ensenada to see an eye doctor there a little closer into the border where they can get some help and get some custom-made glasses. Because we use the ones that the Lions Club recycles.
Okay.
And I've been on the phone with Lions Club this week trying to get some shipments down there. So, or last week. But nonetheless, it's just that being the help in the community. And, and it's so funny, when I first started doing this, Rachel, I would go in and I said, I was involved in politics at the time. And I said, people are always coming to me because of my political ties and say, what can we do to make a difference? And my answer was, I don't really know. Well, I found out very quickly what you do is you change your community from the inside out.
Yeah.
You change your community from the inside out with things like, Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center, Isaiah House, my father's house, CASA. CASA just had their 20-year anniversary. Be a CASA. We're going to have Tiffany Thompson's going to be in here tomorrow with Safe Baby Court, Recovery Court, all these things that you can get involved with that truly change your community from the inside out. And that's how you make a difference. Retiring into teaching, we're talking about our friend Chris that's,
Yes.
oh my gosh. I mean, my husband and I, did that, but you change it from the inside out, and that's what we do down in Mexico. And I love to see that we're doing it here as well, and we're doing it so well here in Robertson County. By the way,
yeah, man, that
wonderful.
could not have been a more perfect segue to the
Well,
first
good.
article I wanted to talk about.
I'm so glad I set that up so perfectly for you. Go right ahead, Rachel.
Yes. Okay. So those listeners who are tuning in for the first time, my name's Rachel. I'm one of the co-founders of StayPositive.News. We are a local news website that covers stories from Robertson County and Sumner County. They're all positive stories. They're all locally based. It's just a really feel-good kind of site that you're going to want to definitely bookmark to your laptop or to your cell phone, and make sure you follow us on social media too. So we put out multiple articles a week. We've got a team of writers, and we've been around now for just over a year. So we've put out some great content, which you will definitely want to check out. But one of our most recent articles covered this safe haven baby box that just got installed at the firehouse. I'm sure you've heard of it. So Springfield inaugurated its 9th safe haven baby box in Tennessee. So there's only 9 in Tennessee now.
Oh, wow, that surprises me.
And what this is, it offers an anonymous, penalty-free option for parents to safely surrender their newborns. I'm sure you're thinking like, that's not very positive, Rachel. But look, this is changing that community from the inside out.
Yeah.
So this was funded by private donations, and it features a temperature-controlled bassinet and a silent alarm to notify the first responders who are there at that time. This aims to prevent harmful infant abandonment by providing mothers with anonymity. I knew I was going to trip up on that word.
Anonymity.
Anonymity.
We all have we have those words. I have no. You just everybody, every professional broadcaster known to man has words they cannot say. So you are just, I'm telling you,
and
we
I'm
all
a
have them.
professional.
So you're doing just fine.
So it provides them an anonymous way to turn in their babies and a way for those babies to get immediate care without prosecution. So a lot of times, if a mother is in a situation where she can't take care of her baby, doesn't want to take care of her baby, whatever the reason, these babies get like abandoned literally anywhere, terrible places, dumpsters, side of the road, in the woods. And then these babies are obviously left to chance whether they're going to survive or not. So this baby box provides a way for mothers to be able to safely get their baby somewhere. It's anonymous. And then also the really cool thing that they set up with this box is when you deposit the baby in, a little package comes out for the mom with medical information on how she can get care because she likely was not at a hospital. And then provides her with information on her rights as well, if she were to change her mind and things like that. So this is, there are 243 boxes installed nationwide. It only started back in 2016 by a woman named Monica Kelsey. And since then, it has really helped in reducing illegal abandonment.
It is incredible. And, we had Sean Elmore in here she comes in, talking about the reoccurring guest. Sean Elmore is now coming in on first Wednesdays. And she is going to keep us up to date on all the things that are going on through Open Door. And she talked a little bit about the baby box. And she said, somebody mentioned to her, well, why would you need to do that? She goes, well, you obviously have never met anybody that had no options and, absolutely in fear. Sometimes it's a very young mother and they just don't know what to do. And we've all heard the news stories where children are abandoned and they are deceased when they are found. And this is to prevent that, especially when you've got so many families out there that would love to adopt. And, we all know those families that have wanted a child and are unable to and would love to be able to adopt an infant. And it is one of those things. It's just like, why would we not? Why would we not offer a safe place for that? So I think it's wonderful. I think that's wonderful. So is that story posted yet? I'm looking for it.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have written down which day it was, but it is already posted.
That's wonderful, though.
Yeah.
I love it.
For those who are like, we don't need that. I mean, having this as an option, I personally don't think is ever going to like encourage more people to give up their babies.
Of course
it's
not.
not.
No.
It's not at all. It's going to provide a safe option for those who are already, in that path, or, that was what they felt like was their only option.
And the headline is a safe space, Springfield Safe Haven Baby Box. So if you go to StayPositive.News, you want to find the story that says a safe place, Springfield Safe Haven Baby Box. That's a wonderful story. I love that. That is wonderful. And is it at the firehouse up here?
It's at the David N. Greer Fire Station number 2.
Okay. It's at fire station number 2.
Yep.
And that's one of the things too, is publicizing that and making sure people know that it is available.
Yep.
And making everybody aware of it. And that's what StayPositive.News is all about.
Yes.
It's just making people aware of the positive things that are going on in the world.
Exactly.
I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. We're talking with Rachel Allison. She is with StayPositive.News. Again, they've just a little over a year. And she comes in on the second Wednesday, and just so thankful that she is here. Let me pause and let's take a break. Let's just talk about one of our common sponsors, because y'all are, Cumberland Connect is one of y'all sponsors.
They are. We love them.
We love Cumberland Connect. But they're one of our sponsors here at One Street Over. And I know Cumberland Electric sponsors the radio station as a whole. So we love that, because Cumberland Connect is powered by Cumberland Electric. If you have not heard, if you are a Cumberland Electric customer, folks, you're going to have access to Cumberland Connect. It's just a matter of time. If you don't have it yet, they're getting to you. I think everybody in Robertson County has access, because I know Senator Kerry Roberts, his house was going to be one of the last ones in Robertson County, because he lives so close into Springfield. But and they finally did get access, and so I feel like Robertson County, for the most part, has been given access, but they're working on Sumner, because we forget that Cumberland Electric services more than just Robertson County. When I moved into when I first married, we had a house in Hendersonville for about a year and had to turn on our electricity. We came to the Cumberland Electric office right here. It's like a mile from where I originally settled for permanent to turn on my electricity. So there's a lot of Sumner County folks that are on Cumberland Electric, and they will have access to Cumberland Connect as well. So if you're a Cumberland Electric customer, you're going to get access, and you're going to love it. It is awesome. High-speed internet. Still working on trying to figure out how we want to extend our signal. I was going to put in a cable. That's what's recommended. That's really probably the neatest way to do it. But one of my tech sons is saying, well, you can do it with a mesh system and blah, 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 blah. All this, my techie kids are, there's a better way, Mom. Let's do it this way. So I'm taking that into consideration. We're still trying to maneuver that. But, talking to Cumberland Connect, I call them up and ask them any question that my son says, hey, call them and ask them this. And I do, and they have the answer. And that's what's wonderful about Cumberland Connect, is they've got local representatives that are going to help you and answer all your questions and walk you through it. And whether you want a gig like myself for $80, you don't necessarily need a gig, but why not? You can be in the gig club, but they have programs starting at $30 per month. So they've got something for every budget, every package. The Affordable Connectivity Program, providing qualifying households with help. Should you need help with that up to $30 per month, that could end up, paying for all of your high-speed internet. So great option for us. It has replaced our phone lines. It is a utility now, and we all need it. Go to cumberlandconnect.org, cumberlandconnect.org, or you can call them at 800-987-2362, 800-987-2362. Put in your address, and it'll tell you, hey, we're ready to install, or we'll be there, in a few weeks or in a month or so. But when you do talk to them, tell them you turn LaVern, and tell them StayPositive.News.
Here. And eventually I do want to talk about your story. I hope you didn't think we were going to get away from that one.
You're talking about the one that y'all did?
Uh-huh.
Well, see, Chris and I kind of talked about it when they were in, because they came in. Thank you. That was very sweet. And that's kind of, I really kind of want to talk about Chris's news too. Can we tell that?
I got his permission. I texted him right before we started.
Because I was wondering, can we talk about that? Because I'm just so excited about this. So Alice, why do I always do that? Rachel.
I always get that.
I know, and I know better, but it still comes out sometimes. Allison. Rachel mentioned to me, she said, we want to, do your story about how that you have changed your career, and, we talk about retiring into teaching. And I think it's just it is a perfect fit for folks my age, especially if you came out of a career. My husband and I, we were contractors for 20 years, and because of health issues that he had, we had to shut down very abruptly and during a bad economic time. And so as we're trying to he's trying to reinvent himself. It wasn't long after that that my traffic career ended very abruptly. And so we're all trying to figure out what we're going to do. And I had a very, great fortune to, get to work at the Blaze for a couple of years. And he was able to extend his education and worked off of his criminal justice degree and got a master's. And so we're just kind of trying to figure out what to do. And because of my relationship here on this show with Dr. Causey, he knew that I was a teaching major when I first got into college. And I switched because I got bit by the radio bug. Well, a lot of the times when you come out of obscure careers, which my husband and I both did, you don't really have plans for retirement. You just don't. When you're young, especially, you don't think about that. And so we didn't have any kind of plan. We're like, we're just going to work. Well, what are you going to do as you get to be 60 years old? And there are programs to take career education into our schools now, CTE, career and technical education. And both of those it worked out for my husband and I both that we qualified to teach him criminal justice and me in audio video. And it has been such a gift, such a blessing for us. And I was telling Chris, I said, I'll do this until I don't feel like I am contributing. If I feel like I'm contributing to what the kids need, I'll do it until I'll be 80 years old in the classroom because I absolutely adore it. I love these kids. And I think the students need to have exposure to some of us older folks, because we've got experiences that they will never know because I love Nick Burgetsy. I wish I could get him and get an interview with him. He's so big now. He's so big time. He's the comedian out of Old Hickory, the Tennessee kid. But he was saying, he goes, I'm from the 1900s. That's one of his lines. But we're from the 1900s, and they're not. Yeah. And so we know what it was like pre-internet. We know what it was like to look up things in the encyclopedia and do all the things we had to do. We know what it was like to watch a black and white television, those kinds of things. And they're like, what? And you had to watch TV. You couldn't do it on your screen and all these things. And so there's a lot of things that they need to hear just because how things have changed. And so to be able to be in the classroom is just such an incredible blessing for us. And I believe it is for the students. And then Chris messages me the other day. Tell them what Chris said. You tell the news.
My writer and editor for StayPositive.News, Chris Valines, he is changing careers, and I honestly think you inspired him too.
I'm so honored that he said that.
He wrote this story on you, and then something sparked within him, and I think he had kind of been looking for a new daytime job, but same thing, nothing was really biting at him. So then he interviews you for this story, and it's like the wheels start turning. And then one thing leads to another, and he texts me the other day too and says, hey, I got a job. I'll be teaching at Greenbrier High School, be teaching 11th and 12th grade English. And he's great. He's great for it. Oh, man. He knows how to write. He knows the technical skills behind that. He's going to be a great teacher.
I'm so excited.
He's so excited too.
Yeah.
But I really, truly think you inspired him to do that. And
I'm just honored. He told me that, and I was like, oh my gosh, well, thank you. But I think it's going to be such a blessing. Kids are going to love him.
Yeah.
They're going to love him. And here's the thing. I'm a career teacher, so I get to do my own curriculum. I've got a lot of leeway. He's teaching a tested subject.
Yeah.
That's really taken, but I know he can do it. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, but that's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
So I really admire him for taking that on. That is something else. That's going to be incredible. But 11th and 12th graders.
Yep.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Newest teacher, Mr. Valines.
I love it. All the kids are going to have to, how do you say his name? It's Valines. It's easy. It's easy. But I'm thrilled, and he's going to be there with us at Greenbrier. I just love it. It's going to be awesome. So
I'm curious, what was the one thing that sparked you into the career?
Wow. Because I started out, at Freed-Hardeman. I went to Freed-Hardeman University, and I had never anticipated going into broadcasting. I grew up, I graduated in 1980. I'm a child of the 60s and 70s, and we just didn't have exposure to career options. Okay. I had interest in archaeology and veterinary medicine and things like that, but it was not something that I really, because my parents didn't go to college. They didn't know how to direct me. And so you just kind of had things you're like, okay, here are things that I can do. These are things that I'm interested in, but these are things I can, within practicality do. And I had played basketball, and I was a really good public speaker just naturally. Just naturally. And so I thought, well, I had one of my the assistant coach was Miss Jackson, and she was she taught speech communications and coached. And I thought, I could do that. I'll be Miss Jackson, that truly. And I don't know if she even realizes that, but I really thought, well, I could do what she's doing. That sounds like a good plan. And I figured I'd go to Freed Hardeman, marry somebody, because that's what you did. You went to get your MRS degree. You know what I'm talking about.
I got mine, honey.
There you go. You go to get your MRS degree at our Christian schools. And so I was like, well, I'll get married and we'll figure something out. We'll come back to the West Kentucky farm, because, that's all I knew. And so I got to Freed Hardeman, and what was so interesting is we have chapel. And I was an education teacher, and that was my plan. So that was always my first love.
Mm-hmm.
But what got me into radio is I was sitting in chapel, and they were talking. I was just wanting something to do, because, I was like, I don't know what to do myself. I had classes, but I wanted some extracurricular stuff. I didn't want to play basketball anymore. I didn't try to walk on because I wasn't that good. I was just big. And so, I was a good rebounder. But they were in chapel, and they said, we need people to do news in the college radio station. We had a full-on broadcast facility licensed by the FCC, 3,000-watt station. And I'd never, ever considered radio, not even that much. And Gary Kidd, who was the local radio person back in Mayfield, he had always said whenever they would do radio interviews with us, because we had a team that just didn't get beat very much, our girls team. And so they would, hey, girls, how did it go at the game? And he would say to me, oh, let's interview LaVern because she sounds good on the radio.
Yeah.
And I was not the person they needed to interview, because I was not the star at all, ever. And so, but that stuck with me. That one thing stuck with me. And I was like, I bet I could do that. And I changed my major the next semester. So I got off track from what I had originally planned. So teaching has always kind of been in the back of my mind. And so, when Dr. Causey and I became friends, I mentioned it to him a few times and over several years. And he told me then, he was like, well, we knew then we were going to put you in as an audio video teacher, and just didn't tell me that. But I was looking into going into English language learners, because
Okay.
I love working with immigrants and newcomers. And I worked with ESL from the church perspective for a couple of years. And that's why I have so many friends from Egypt. But nonetheless, that was my path. But then Dr. Causey, Dr. Causey had an enormous amount to do with it, because he knew that seed was there.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that it was always kind of there. And it was the same thing with my husband. He was a criminal justice major, but one of his brothers had taught, and he had a sister and a brother that taught. And so he always kind of knew, and he's just a good teacher. He's just a very natural teacher. He's very organized and all that. So we've all just kind of had it in the back of our minds. And so I don't know. Maybe all of us, in a little piece of us, are like, maybe there's a piece of me that can teach. I'm curious, does Chris have an education background, or is he going to have to go back to school? Do you know?
I don't know.
Because he can go in as an embedded and then start his, teaching license. But, to teach English, there's some requirements. So, I'm curious if he's going to be going back to school, because we had to get our educational preparedness program. We're finishing those up right now.
Okay.
My husband and I are. But, yeah, it's just a seed that somebody nurtured. And Dr. Causey, he kept pushing. And like I said, in the background, didn't tell me. He had a plan from the moment he knew I was interested to bring this program in. But, just plant that seed. And so now we get to do that with all of the young kids that we work with. We get to plant seeds. So
that's really cool.
It's fun.
And now all those kids get to ask you about your real life experiences every day.
Yeah.
And learn.
And that's cool. That's one of those things that, they know we know. We know what it's like to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
We know the ups and downs of it. I understand how difficult it is to work and make a career in the arts and in things like, we've got some kids. I've got some extremely talented kids that want to be actors and things like that. And we just tell them the truth of it, because there's an element of broadcasting that is that. and you have to be ready for it. And so, I mean, it's just, I don't know. That's a very long answer, Rachel, but I'll go
Well,
down a
I was
rabbit hole.
super curious. Yeah, like
But I want to hear Chris's, story as to
yeah.
so why this, and what's the background there, because that's an education certification that he has to have for
Mhm.
teaching English.
Well, you'll have to
So,
have him on a couple weeks into the school year.
well, and
See
he
how
is
it's
going.
going.
We've been having him on
Right.
the fourth Friday, so I don't know that we'll be able to do that beyond this month because of he's going to be tied up
Full
in the
schedule
classroom.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe he'll have first period off or something like
You first period planning, first block planning.
maybe.
We'll have to see, because that's one of my things with when I first started looking into teaching. I automatically went to Springfield because they start at 8:30, which would allow me to do my radio show and get there, because I don't want to give this up. I love keeping my toe in radio, and my agreement with Greenbrier is to have first block planning always, so I can do the radio show, because I bring kids in here. I have students on periodically, and it's we tie it in to what we're teaching. So
Yeah.
so maybe he'll get first block planning from time to time, and he can come in and do the show with me. But that's going to be, I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's in a whirlwind right now trying to get ready to get in the classroom, though.
Yeah, for sure.
I know he is, but
Yeah.
it's fun. We're talking with Rachel Allison. She is with StayPositive.News, and we just really encourage you to follow. Go on and seek it out. I tell my kids, we were talking about our notifications on our phones. I keep my phone. She texted me early this morning. I'm sorry to text you, so I'm like, I don't turn notifications on my phone. So this is a tool. It does not drive me. I don't have this thing pinging, telling me,
Absolutely.
I go to my phone when it's time for me to check my phone and look at what I need to do. And so I don't have my notifications on, but you can make sure that StayPositive.News is one of the first places you go when you're looking for the news of the day. When you're using
Mhm.
this as a tool, you go in and search it, or you can follow you guys on Facebook
Yeah.
and all of those things. So when you go and social media pops up, that's the first thing that's going to come up. So I love it.
Absolutely.
Have y'all had any issues with Facebook and trying to? I had, whenever we first started talking, I was a little distracted because Facebook was saying, we removed one of your shows because you were violating the rules. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
You know,
girl. Yeah, we get those messages every day. These fake messages saying they're going to shut down our account. Don't worry
and they're
about those.
fake.
Yes, they're all fake.
Oh,
Yes, and they will even email you now sometimes too. But
really?
Facebook is not going to shut down your account.
Because it was
No.
saying we removed this show, because it was saying it removed some show because we were violating some rules. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I think it was from the radio side, because the radio Facebook page. That's one of the reasons why we always put this up on my personal page, is because the page that has got like a commercial aspect to it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just different. And so having it on my personal page, I think we get better exposure for these stories, and we want to make sure you know what's going on one street over from where you're living. I mean, this is what this show is all about, is what's going on in the community. So it's important, and I can't imagine why they would take it down. So those are fake.
Yeah.
It is so hard to know what's real and what's fake out there in social media.
Yeah. I would just assume that they're all fake.
Okay.
Really, truly. There's been one in a long time where I had to text Jamie Nixon, my business partner, who's
Yeah.
just a social media online guru. And I
Right.
sent it to Jamie and I said, usually I'm really good at determining whether these are fake or not. What do you think about this one? And he got back to me immediately and was like, that's also fake. Like,
Really?
yes.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know why they're just so intent on attacking people on Facebook
That
and
is crazy.
tricking them into things. But yeah.
That blows my mind. And, it's so interesting. I had a professional development session yesterday. PD is, we have acronyms out the wazoo whenever you're in teaching. But we had a PD session yesterday about some of the things that we do for career and technical education. And something was mentioned was Lisa Arnold with Small Town Startup.
Mhm.
She's very expert in a lot of the social media things, and so she's going to be bringing in a lot of that in. She's going to be doing some stuff with the chamber for the classroom, and I need people to come in and help me to explain a lot of the nuances of social media to my students. So I'm going to tap her. I need to get Jamie in too,
Oh, yeah.
to just talk about the things that are legit on social media and the things that are not, because we all get those. My poor mother, bless her heart, she would get some of the most bizarre emails and messages saying that, okay, you've got a package from the post office that's trying to be delivered and we
Mhm.
need this information. No, 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 no. Those are fake.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. They are, but that one that I just had seemed legitimate and I just clicked through it. But, interesting. Next
Yeah.
one I get, I'm screenshotting it and sending it to Jamie.
Yeah, he'll
I was
help
like,
you.
what is this?
He'll definitely come talk to your class too. He's done
Okay.
that before.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love all this. And I saw where you had a story on Jamie as well.
Yeah, we did.
Mhm.
We have kind of started this series. We don't really have a name for it yet, but highlighting individuals who have gone through some serious adversity in their life
Mhm.
and just how they have used that to fuel them to lead a
Mhm.
positive lifestyle, be a positive impact on their
That's awesome.
community. So Jamie was one of those people that we highlighted. I mean, he grew up um, here in Robertson County, and he had a really, really rough upbringing. You can check out the story. It's on our website, StayPositive.News. But yeah, he bounced around from house to house. They would get evicted. He just didn't have good role models in his life. Um,
Wow. I mean, you never, and I know him really well. I had no idea.
yeah, he's a great
I
guy
had
now.
no idea.
He will do anything for
Yeah.
anyone. You just got to call him and ask. And sometimes you don't even have to call him. He'll just know the need and he'll serve.
That is cool. Oh,
He's an
absolutely.
amazing.
And two, I tease him about this transformation he made because he came in here first time I met him was with the fair. He came in with Trent Cobb for the fair to do something with the fair, and I mean he looked great. He was fit for standards for anybody that's a little bit older, but he just got to a place where he was starting to have some health concerns, and he's like, I don't want to live this way. And he started the first of last year, literally transformed his health.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he dropped about 70 to 100 pounds
Yeah.
and is probably as fit as he was in high school, looks 20 years younger. I mean, just so inspiring.
Yeah.
And I just blew my mind. And he's kind of taken that. Well, it's just like Chris and I were talking. I said, Jamie, he really has inspired me. Not that I've done anything about it yet, but he really has inspired me. And Chris was saying the same thing. It's like I'm looking at him going, if he can do it, I can do it. And we need that.
Yeah.
We need to, that's something that mentoring is so important. Not, we talk about the kids, but just with everybody around us. When we show people, hey, I'm dealing with something, but I can do it, you can too, and we encourage others, it's just huge. And I see that out of Jamie a lot. So that's really
yeah.
cool. I'm going to go in and read that story. I saw that pop up a minute ago as I was going through the stories.
Okay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And with his fitness journey too, he's super open about that.
Mm-hmm.
He works out at Fitness 1440 in White House.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go train with him, he'll train with you. He'll show you the ropes. He'll talk about his diet, his nutrition, all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And then, of course, he knows a lot of people in that industry who could really work with you as well to just meet whatever goals you want. So he's just such a great resource for everything.
Well, and I'll tell you, I have seen a couple of posts where he has been working with people who, because sometimes fitness memberships and things like that can get kind of daunting, and some people that they have sponsored to help
Yeah.
get those things. And I'm not, I mean, it is something that you want to have some skin in the game. You really do. If you're just, that's one of the hardest things doing broadcasting for all these years. A lot of times people have these fitness programs and they let us do it for free. And we didn't have any skin in the game.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a little bit, if you haven't invested a little bit, you don't tend to be as successful. And so, but I did see where there were a few people that they just kind of had sponsored and helped them, and they've done fabulous because they see the gift of it. And so I don't know, that's a cool story. So overcoming life's hurdles, Jamie Nixon now strives to make a difference. That's the headline for that. We do need to talk a little bit about Miss Mabel. Is there anything great from Miss Mabel
That's
right now?
exactly what I had next because
I
I
love it.
knew you were going to want to talk about Miss Mabel.
I love Miss Mabel. Absolutely. One of my favorites is Miss Mabel, but we do need to do it. Let's do an ad real quick.
Okay.
Let's talk about Veterans Motorplex. That's another place I'd love to see you guys do a story on. Veterans Motorplex is just awesome. They have completely revamped the old Highland Rim Speedway, a place that is got so much history. I really did not realize how much history until Mayor Vogel and I were talking, and he and I are in the same age range. I think he's just a tad bit older than me, but he was talking about as in high school going out to Highland Rim and watching the races and talking about some of the legends that have raced on that track. And I had no idea that it was so just covered up with this great history. But they revamped it. They've renamed it many years ago to Veterans Motorplex. Jerry came in and took it over, Jerry Crosswell, and he absolutely has done so much renovation out there in this past year. You just won't believe it. It looks wonderful. It's running great. And through October, you've got racing every Saturday night that you can go and be a part of. You want to get out there and see it. I got out there several times last year. I'm still trying to work that into my schedule. I'll get there. I'll get there before the season's over because it is so much fun. I just absolutely love it. You're going to see some local favorites racing. You're going to have some teenagers out there racing. Some of my students have been on that track. It is so much fun. They've got a great concession stand. A lot of my students have worked there for their first summer job. Love what they're doing out at Veterans Motorplex. If you want to be a part of it, they make it real easy to take your whole family. A $40 ticket will get up to 6 kids and 2 adults in for one $40 ticket price. Racing every Saturday. Follow them on social media. Follow them at Highland Rim Speedway, so that way you know if there's a rain delay, a cancellation, anything like that happens. That'll keep you completely apprised of the schedule if you're wanting to get to the races this weekend. But I encourage you to make sure you get to the races a few times this year before we finish the season in October. Possibility that we'll extend it a little bit into November because they got a late start due to all the renovations they were doing. But it's a great place, 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier, 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. The historic Highland Rim Speedway is Veterans Motorplex. When you get out there, please let them know you turn. I was talking to some friends last night. I work with Celebrate Recovery at Epiphany Baptist on Tuesday nights and then at Madison Church of Christ on Wednesday nights. So I was talking to a friend of mine there last night, and we were talking with the praise and worship band. Hey, are we going to be in the fair parade in September? And I said, the fair is in August. It is the first week in August, because I've had Trent Cobb in, and we've talked about the specifics of the fact that because to get the carnival, there's not that many carnivals that travel and go city to city anymore. I mean, it's becoming a lost art. To get the good carnival, we have to work with them and when they're available. Unfortunately, that means we're having an early fair this year. We really enjoyed having it in September last year. It was cooler, but this year we're having it in August. First week of August, it starts on the 6th. That's a Tuesday night, so I'm not really sure exactly of the parade schedule. I'm going to really work to get Trent in here. I'm going to be out the last 2 weeks of July because I'm going to be on a mission trip, and then I'm also getting my left knee replaced before school starts. Lee Marie will be, handling everything, so we definitely will get. I'll mention it to her. We've got to get Trent in here, get the fair board in here, somebody from the fair board to give the schedule. But the fair is coming up the first week in August, so please put that on your calendar. And it is early, but it'll be a great fair, as it always is. So I just wanted to kind of put that little piece of information out there. So what else have you got for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. And the fair sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably around the first week of school that's coming. So great way to celebrate back to school.
There you go.
Love it.
For sure. So what else have we got?
So I wanted to touch base on our new Miss Mabel article. So Miss Mabel is our version of Dear Abby. She is an advice columnist. She is a Southern grandma. She'll tell it to you how it is with a little sugar and a little spice.
She's a little snark.
Sometimes. I love how she responded to this article today. So the question written in by a writer, Dear Miss Mabel, my daughter recently graduated high school and we had a party the weekend after. My mother-in-law called her a few days ago and asked if she had started on her thank you notes yet. Neither of us had really thought about the need to send a thank you, and to me, it seems like an outdated practice. I told her not to worry about it, but then I received a thank you note from one of her friends in the mail today. Is all that really necessary? Educate on etiquette from White House, Tennessee. And Miss Mabel's response is, truth be told, I don't think you're from around here. Is how she starts her response. But then she goes into detail on why she believes thank you notes are very necessary still in this day and age. And I have to ask you, LaVern, what is your thought on that?
I think they're wonderful, and I think that you're supposed to do them from an etiquette standpoint. I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible. I'm the worst. I am not a real organized, structured person, and so things like that. I've still got graduation cards I haven't sent to some people who I need to send, and you know who you are. I ran into this sweet girl at church the other day, and I couldn't make it to our little thing we do for the graduate because we were with one of our kids, and I was like, I've got you a card. And she was like, did it get lost in the mail? And I'm like, no, it's still sitting on my desk, and it's still sitting there. I've got to get that done. I'm terrible about that. And I think a lot of it is because a lot of us just don't do mail anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. But I'll be honest with you. When I graduated, I don't think I sent my cards out like I was supposed to, much to my mother's chagrin. She's like, I'm not good. I'm not good at it. And those of you who are, I honor you because it's nice. Because if you send, especially if you send something in the mail and you wonder, well, did they get it? You don't know. So and it's not that you really want the thank you, but you want to make sure nothing happened, that that it got where you intended for it to go.
Right.
Especially if you send cash or a gift card or something like that.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's good manners. It's the proper thing to do, but I'm terrible at it. How are you at it?
Oh, I agree with Miss Mabel. I really do love sending thank you notes. I really love receiving them. I've actually received 2 recently that I want to mention.
Okay.
One, my friend Emma came to town. She was visiting from New Hampshire, where I grew up. She came to town. This was her first trip after having a baby, first time leaving the baby. And so I wanted to show her a good time while she was here. And we went and did all the fun things that one does when you're visiting Nashville. And she sent me a thank you card after, just like, thanks for sending me or having me. Thanks for showing me a good time. Like, I really appreciated all the effort you put into planning. And it was just so sweet to receive that card. And I sent her a quick text saying, hey, got your card. Like, that was really kind.
Yeah,
It just gave me,
it is. It's the right thing to do.
Warm and fuzzies.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other card I got cracks me up. I was on a bachelorette trip with my future sister-in-law, and we stayed at her mother's house in North Carolina. And so I sent her flowers after the fact, like, thank you for letting us stay in your beautiful home. She didn't charge us anything. We picked up after ourselves, but like, we didn't have to pay for a cleaner to come or anything like that. So I sent her flowers. She sent me a thank you card for the flowers, just saying, wow, it just really, I love that you gave me flowers. You're always welcome. And it was the sweetest card. And I told my husband about it. He goes, so she sent you a thank you card after you sent her thank you flowers? I said, yes. He goes, so you should send her another thank you card back saying thank you for the thank you card. And I'm like, okay, that's just silly.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if that would just go on back and forth?
Well, but you could, the fact that you sent the text to your friend, so that was very nice of you to send a card after. That was my, I don't know, but that is super sweet and very considerate. And I've got some friends of mine. I'll call them out right here. I talk about the Rainies all the time. Lawrence Rainey's he's on the radio. He listens. He's a retired fireman, and he likes to get up early, so he listens to the show. And his wife Mary, they go to Mexico with me. They're just some of my best friends, and Mary is awesome at sending cards and doing those kinds of things. They're just awesome at it, and and there's several of my really close friends that are just good at that, and I want them to teach me because I owe the Rainies more than one thank you note. They know I appreciate them and all that kind of thing, but I've actually bought cards to send to people, and then I just don't get them done.
Okay, I'll teach you a couple of things.
Teach me. So how do you make sure you get that done?
Okay, first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna have cards on hand at home.
Okay.
So go to Amazon and order you a pack of 50 or 100 just simple thank you cards. So you always have one to grab. Okay. And then the second thing you're going to do is prioritize it.
Okay.
ASAP. Okay. Somebody does something nice for you. As soon as you get home and have a moment, you're going to grab one of those cards out of the box, fill it out, write it, address it, put it in the mailbox as quickly as possible, because when you start letting the time go by, that's when you forget or you think, oh, it's too late, or it just doesn't happen.
So prioritize.
You got to prioritize it.
So talk to me. That's one of the hardest things, because I'm one of these people that if I like having I like having a lot of things going on. And nowadays we diagnose people with ADD, but I joke around. I am my daddy's daughter, because he was very scattered and had all kinds of projects. When, he passed away, my brother, bless him, has spent years going, what was dad doing here? What was he had going? He had like a Pierce Arrow he was working on. He had all these little projects and things that he liked to work on. And, a lot of them didn't get done. And, but I'm that kind of person.
Yeah.
I have tons of little things. I've got my hand in all these little things. So when you're that type of person, how do you set those priorities and prioritize? Maybe this is a story that we need to cover, because there's a lot of people like me out there who you really kind of address today. It's like, okay, what has to be prioritized today?
Yeah.
Just like I've got physical therapy I've got to go do. I've got some things I got to do for my Mexico mission trip that got to be done. They got to be prioritized. I've hired some local kids, Tiffany Thompson's kids. I've got a couple of her boys coming out to help me in the barns and stuff today. That's
nice.
a priority. So I've got CR tonight. That's a priority. I had the radio. So it's like, how can I prioritize anything else?
Yeah.
I
get
what
it.
I mean? I've got to get that graduation card out to my girl.
I get it.
But how do you do that? I mean, because I know you're busy too.
For sure.
How do you get that in your head?
Yeah. I think it's just making it as easy as possible for myself, as far as, having the cards in hand,
Stamps.
having the stamps ready. I even have one of those like address stamp things that has my last name and my address, so I don't have to fully write that out. I mean, if you think about it, a quick thank you card, that is going to take less than 5 minutes of your time if you already have everything that you need. So yeah, spare 5 minutes, just get it done real quick.
I guess part of my issue too is I like to write, and I want anything I write to have a certain feel to it. I don't want to just say thank you. I want to tell the person what they mean to me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so I overthink that part of it.
Maybe we're getting to the root of the problem here.
Yeah, and it's that, just like I'm going to call the Rainies out. I sit down to write a card to them, and I want to say something special, and I'm like, well, I got to think about that. How do I want to put this? How do I want to say that? When you have special friends that mean a lot to you, you don't want to just say, hey, thanks. You want to say more than that.
You. Yeah.
Yeah, those kinds of things. And so I guess the thing is, don't overthink it, maybe.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I like to be, thank you for blank, whatever you did or whatever you gave me. And then usually just like one more sentence about how excited I am to have it, or how excited I am to use it, or how just,
Right.
One,
and just
one
how
more
special
sentence.
they are.
Yes, exactly.
Just one more sentence. Just don't overthink it. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Love Rachel.
You've inspired me. Okay, so the Rainies, you're going to be getting a card from me soon. Paul's just laughing and shaking his head. I guarantee it. Going,
yeah.
You're right, LaVern. Sure. But anyway,
it's a special day.
It's all special, and I love that Miss Mabel covered that, because that's a thing. That's a thorn for me, because I know it's something I got to be better at. I know it's something I got to get better at, and it is one of those. I talk to my husband all the time. I love the line, I don't think you're from around here. My husband is from, like I said, practically Canada. I tease him because he's from the upper peninsula of Michigan. He's not from lower Michigan. He's from the peninsula, and that's just south of Lake Superior, and it's like a country in and of itself. But he has a lot of northern nuances that we don't do that down here, but now you're coming from New Hampshire,
right?
Did you have this instilled in you, the importance of thank you notes, or is it something that you decided to do? Is it something your parents taught you?
Yeah, my mom for sure. She, to this day, she loves to just give cards in general.
Okay.
When it's my birthday,
right.
When it's Mother's Day, even she'll get me a card. When it's mine and my husband's anniversary, she'll get us a card. And it is like the most, she takes her time picking out the perfect card that just says the perfect thing. I cry every time I read her card. So I think she rubbed off on me. And then when I moved south, which was, oh goodness, 11 years ago now. Like I just got dove into that Southern culture. I got married really young, and it was like, all right, Yeah, you got gifts for your baby or your wedding shower, thank you cards.
Yeah.
You got gifts for your wedding, thank you cards. Then I had to start popping out babies. All right, now you got to send out gifts for your baby shower. So
Yeah.
it was just one of those things I quickly assimilated to
I love
down
it.
Here.
We're talking, I'm just looking at the clock because Lee Marie's popping in there. We've got the Go Show coming up here in just a few moments, so I want you to stay tuned for that. But let me do my last break, and we're going to come by, and however you want to wrap this up.
Sure.
Did we kind of get to everything you wanted to cover pretty much?
I just have one little announcement I'd love to make.
You got it. Okay. We're talking with Rachel Allison. She is with StayPositive.News. They visit with us on the second Wednesday every month. And so we just encourage you to follow them, to seek them out, and to seek out the positive things in life when you're looking for the news. And you're just, it'll change you guys. We want to remind you too of one of our sponsors, Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty, our longest running full-time sponsor. Love them so much. When you see them, thank them for making this possible. I mean, we can't do it without our sponsors. They are up in Cross Plains. They are Cross Plainians, we like to say. They're involved in so much around the community. You will find them almost any event I go to, they're there with some kind of a booth, just, making themselves available. So, because a lot of people have real estate questions. I've got some of my kids that are talking about building on our property and just all the ins and outs of that. We're keeping an eye on some property that neighbors are. So if anything comes from set for sale, maybe they might want to build on the edge of the property where we don't have road frontage, and we're keeping an eye on that. They're helping me with that. There's all kinds of aspects of real estate you don't really think about. This is something I haven't mentioned in a while, but we were talking about how that somebody had gotten into a foreclosure situation, and rather than letting that happen, they got in touch with a realtor, and a realtor gave them better options. That is something, if you got somebody that's struggling financially, it's a hard economic time and they've gotten behind and they're like, oh, I'm going to get foreclosed on. Don't just think that's your only option. Get in touch with a realtor. Rebecca's expert at that. She is she's helped several with that specific thing, and you can reach out to them. You can give Rebecca a call at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, and talk to her about it. And she will give you some options that you might not have thought about. Her office is a agency office up in White House. Barry has a brokerage office here in Springfield. They combine those two to bring you a new branch in the exit tree. It's called Exit Prime Realty. Google them, and you'll find out about Barry's expert marketing background, her being one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist, the fact that they specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky because they're from Kentucky, just like me. Reach out to them today. Again, that phone number is 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Okay. Let's see if we can wrap this up.
Theme is how can we change our community from within, right? So I have an opportunity coming up 10 days from now on July 20th, just a short trip down the ridge. This is called A Day for Good, and it is going to be a morning of volunteer work within the Goodlettsville, Millersville area.
Awesome.
This is put on by Well House Church. This is the second or third year in a row that they've done it. So you show up at 8:30 a.m. at Millersville Community Center for registration, and then you're going out to your job site at 9 a.m. You're done by 12. You're going to complete a project there with a group of people, and then you come back, and there'll be food trucks and a little party. This is a really, really tangible way to make a difference within your community. They're going to several different schools in the area, some nonprofits, a dog rescue, a library, senior
Very cool.
living. So you can kind of pick and choose too, like which one really speaks to you. Great opportunity to volunteer with the whole family as well, family friendly. Even if you have littles, I believe they're offering a babysitting opportunity for you as well. But I know that kids as young as 5 or 6 could even participate in some of these too.
And how old are your kids?
6 and 4.
There you go. So, I mean, there might be some things for them to do. And I'm quite familiar with Well House Church. My kids, when they were in the area, one of my boys, his bride and kids were part of it. That's how they know you. And the preacher, his kiddo, has been in my class, and so I mean, it's just a great organization. So tell them again, what are you calling it?
It's a day for good, July 20th. If you Google search for Well House Church, go to their page and then click their sign-ups button to go ahead and get pre-registered.
If you're looking for a chance, if you've never done volunteer work, this would be a really good way to kind of just jump in and get your feet wet and find what your passion is. Because when you find your passion, that's where you're going to see how you can plug into your community and, again, change it from the inside out. Can't say enough about it. Thank you, Rachel, so much.
Thank you.
So good to see you. And, again, can't wait to hear more about StayPositive.News. I want you to stay tuned because you've got a chance to win a pair of tickets to this weekend's Sunflower Festival. Lee Marie's going to be talking more about that, or next weekend's date night at Red River Farms. Red River Farms is doing some cool stuff, guys. They're beautiful. They've got it done right, and it is just a cool place. And that big Sunflower Festival, man, that is a huge draw to this area. So stay tuned. Lee Marie's going to have more about that coming up on The Go Show. This is 1100.